Hey everyone. For today's topic, I want to discuss a quote that goes something along the lines of what we dislike in others is what we dislike about ourselves, or there's even another variation that's a bit harsher that says what we hate about others is what we hate about ourselves. Now, I don't agree with this quote 100% across the board because I don't believe that it applies 100% across the board, but it certainly is valid and true in some situations. For instance, for most people who haven't really worked on themselves, when other people have the same flaws and insecurities that they have, it will trigger them because it will remind them that they have those flaws and insecurities within themselves. And if they haven't accepted those flaws and insecurities, they're not going to want to be reminded of that fact, right? They're not going to want to be reminded of the fact that they have those within themselves because they haven't worked on it yet, and they probably feel some shame or guilt for having those flaws and insecurities. Maybe they believe it makes them a bad person, so they're not going to want to be reminded of that. So definitely in that case, this quote rings true, which, by the way, if you haven't already, start practicing self-love so you can get to a place where you do love and accept yourself as you are with all your flaws and insecurities, because it'll make it so this quote really doesn't apply to you all that much anymore. Because even when you do recognize your flaws and insecurities in other people, it's not going to trigger you anymore because you'll have accepted them. You'll be okay with them. You'll know that you're a flawed human being. You have insecurities and other things you should work or are working on, hopefully, and could work on, but it's not going to bother you anymore. You're just going to accept it and know, hey, I have the same flaws and insecurities that that person over there has, and that's okay. Like, there's no reason to get triggered over it. But most people, yeah, they will get triggered over it because they haven't worked on themselves to that point. So in that situation, this quote definitely rings true. But the problem I have with it is when people think it applies 100% of the time, because that is simply not true. There is no way in hell that you can tell me everything that upsets or frustrates us in other people is something we dislike about ourselves. That's not true. Some great examples are just bad people. People who haven't really worked on themselves, people who don't care about others, people who are completely selfish or narcissistic, whatever it may be, there are people out there who simply aren't good human beings. You can't tell me that a good human being can look at a bad person, get mad at them for certain qualities of them, and that immediately means that that good person has those qualities themselves? No, that's not the case. Especially when I use extreme examples here, like people who literally have mutations in their brain that make them think differently than normal people, like psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, and especially people on the extreme end who are straight up tyrannical, crazy, some of the most evil people out there, like Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. Like, you can't tell me that good people can look at people like that and find a ton of bad qualities, and it means that those good people have those same qualities within themselves. No, that is not true. Remember, people who are that evil almost always have a mutation in their brain. So they literally view things differently than most. They can hurt someone and they'll feel no empathy, which means no remorse whatsoever for what they did. Because most people with a normal functioning brain, if we hurt someone else, our empathy will go off. We'll see the way that we hurt them with our actions, and we'll feel bad over it. We'll feel guilty. Maybe even feel shame. That isn't always the case for people who have mutations in their brain. They literally sometimes won't have that empathy center that normal people have. So they can hurt other people and they won't care at all. Like, you can't tell me that normal people can look at a bad person like that and it means that they're feeling bad that they have that same quality themselves, because they don't have that quality. So there you go. Hopefully I conveyed my point here, because it upsets me to see people take quotes like way too literally, and this is one of those. Like, sure, it applies in some situations. It can definitely be accurate for, flaws and insecurities that you haven't come to terms with, but it doesn't apply across the board. Like, there are straight up evil people out there. Us normal people, we don't think like them. We don't have the same qualities they have. So it's just completely different. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. I truly hope you enjoyed this one. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe for more. Otherwise, the easiest way you can help me out is just to throw a like and a comment on the video for the algorithm, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!